Yo ho 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 ho. Yo ho 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 ho. Yo ho 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 ho. How are you guys doing today? Sorry. It's like midnight and I'm doing one of those things where like I tried to be like super prepared in the morning and then I got really lazy at the night. So now I'm recording this episode review like what was it, 3 hours or so? 3 or 4 hours after I've already fucking watched the episode. So sorry, this seems a little bit scattered. But welcome to another Pokemon 2019 episode review. I believe we're on episode 5, and this is our. It's weird. It's technically our Score Bunny centric episode. That's what I like to call it anyway. Because even though the episode's supposedly centered around the Snorlax, and the Snorlax is like the main cause of problems, the whole point is more geared towards going into catching the Squirrel Bunny, even though he said his first Pokemon was supposed to his first catch was going to be Mew, which is a stupid fucking statement considering Mew is one of the strongest Pokemon anime wise, and you plan to catch it how if you didn't have any Pokemon to fight it with? So it seemed like a dumb idea in the first place. So the episode I'm very conflicted on because although I don't think the episode's bad, and Score Bunny definitely wins a lot of points for being kind of like cute and very brimming with life, I guess is the way I would describe it. My main issue is that there's a lot of stupidity going on. Like the fact there are certain things I don't care that Ash doesn't recognize. Some things like him referencing a Pokemon that he owns, that doesn't need to be referenced every time. I can kind of let that go. But because I'm dealing with an Ash who's like more childish and naive in like the modern sense of that word, that means I have to take the trade off with it, which is that he'll say shit or do shit that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like for example, not recognizing what a Snorlax is at all. He's still treated as the more like emotionally mature character, which is kind of interesting. But he also still does like really random dumb shit that kind of irks me. Like I get the whole food thing and him being like super impatient and whatnot. Oh fuck. This is what happens when you record videos at midnight. I understand the whole him being super impatient and like him eating his food fast, that kind of stuff. That's fine. I don't really care for the I don't know. The Snorlax is this that's what it was. That not only did he not recognize a Snorlax, not whether or not he didn't recognize his Snorlax, but just a Snorlax in general, but the fact that he didn't recognize that that is Snorlax's normal size. Like there's a difference between being dumb and being like retarded. And my issue there was like, Ash, you've seen a Snorlax before. Like fuck the fact that you own one, which is a problem in its own right. But you've seen Snorlax before. Why in the world would you think that it's that whole trade off where we're gonna there what essentially the fact that I'm an old school fan of the anime is almost being punished here because the things that frustrate me would not frustrate me if this is the first Pokemon anime series I'm going into. So the way unfortunately I'm gonna have to say it, and that's something I'm gonna have to acknowledge moving forward, is that if you were an older school anime fan of Pokemon, these smaller moments with Ash and his moments of stupidity or things of him doing that you know he probably shouldn't do, like it's going to bother you more than like a child coming into the series for the first time. And for a child, that would make sense. Like, oh, a kid wouldn't know how big a Snorlax is because this is their first time seeing one animated. I can understand that point. I guess my issue though is in this particular situation, because I am an old school fan and I know that he knows what a Snorlax is big like. It's like, yo, how in the fuck? Like even if they run into like just Misty and Brock again for this region, it's like, yo, you've seen Snorlaxes from as early as like Kanto, so you know how big he can be. I do like a lot of the Score Bunny, and Go moments. I think they work well, and that Go is kind of like this. Go, ironically enough, I think is like socially awkward while actually being like smart because he's so weird about shit. Like he's one of those weird kids in class that's a generally nice person, but because he has like some weird quirks, it kind of ostracized him from class. And it wouldn't surprise me if that's like his history. That like he's so eccentric that it made him unapproachable. And the reason why Koharu is approachable with him is because they've known each other for so long. That and Koharu, even though Koharu in her own right is kind of like distanced herself away from Go. Not like completely because she still cares, but enough. And I'm hoping they do finally address like that interaction and that relationship, because there's definitely more to it. That like Go and her have a history that probably relates to her caring about Go and wishing that Go would like chill out on the obsession. Especially because the problem with the first episode shows like the backstory, or like it's a prequel, so to speak, but never really shows why he's like that in the first place, or why Koharu is so concerned about him. But you can tell Go has like a bunch of internal insecurities and it's very like he doesn't he's not as like experienced as Ash is, and I appreciate that still being shown. Like even in this episode, that he just relies on Ash to like climb the Snorlax because he recognizes that Ash is better at it. I just wanted to kind of trade off. Like if Go gets better at being adventurous, Ash should get smarter. That would be that. I think that's a fair trade off. If you're gonna make him dumb at the beginning of the series, that means he should have a progression, just like Go does, about changing. The reason why they probably won't do it is because they both need to maintain like their childlike innocence, but also like their comedic points. But if you meet them in the middle, it should still work. But I don't know where the series is going. It's an episode that really just serves to be a Scorbunny episode. I'm perfectly cool with the fact that Team Rocket isn't here. I know I saw some people mad about that, but I keep forgetting that like I'm in the minority personally about how I feel about Team Rocket, where I feel like Team Rocket doesn't do anything. Team Rocket's used as a makeshift plot device when it's convenient to do so, not because they're really good characters. Then again, in Pokemon, no one's really a good character. They're kind of just okay at best and fucking worthless at worst, which it tends to lean on that side of the scale, unfortunately. But I don't know. The Dynamaxing was kind of cool. The fact that they like the implication is that it eats berries and like the seeds that it spits out end up on its chest. So when it Dynamaxes, the seeds actually grow like into full blown trees, and that's why he looks like he has a forest on his body. Also, the music has been really good these last few episodes. I really like the OST that they've been playing in the background, especially towards the end with the whole Go and Scorbunny like kicking the pair into Snorlax's mouth. Even though in the games the way it worked is that you had to beat them to stop the Dynamaxing, but because neither of them have really a team and they didn't want to do max rate battles, which is part of the reason why I would say it's cool. It would be cool to introduce other characters from the previous series, because then you could use them as excuses to do max rated battles, and we get these cool animation fights with like maybe a team up you never saw before, like Clement and Silent and Ash and Go fighting a fucking giant a Magearna. I also appreciate the fact that the wild area, all the Pokemon they showed in the wild area in the anime are all Pokemon that can only be caught in the wild area. Like all those Pokemon show up in the games. They didn't do anything where like Pokemon that don't show up are in there, like Goomy and Seedot and Frillish and Flygon. All those Pokemon you can get in the wild area. So I appreciate that being consistent in correlating with the games. There's a nice attention to detail. Not everybody would notice. I noticed. But yeah, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Comment, not comic. Comment. There is a comic, but that's a manga, and I don't read that, so we're not going to talk about it. Anywho, thank you guys for the support. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you stay up to date when I put out a new review. Thank you for watching. Let's game, play to win, and I will catch you guys later. Peace. So later days.